friends and companions on this path of spiritual practice. As I have been trying to describe, karma is about orientations and dispositions. It's about our conduct that reveals values. And karma is not just at an individual level, but as we listen to the news of the world, we know that there is a collective karma played out right now. Many teachers, when it concerns the teaching of karma, many teachers find that there is another teaching, another practice that is really, really difficult to teach, even more to practice. It's not codependent arising. It's not the Buddhist notion of empty self or no self. One of the most difficult teachings from Buddhism is about the practice of equanimity. Equanimity that is about not favoring how things are, nor opposing how things are. Equanimity that is about being fully present with our experience without wishing that it stay as it is, nor wishing that it be different from what it is. When I think about equanimity, I think about this practice that you can try. Give yourself a gentle pinch. As we pinch ourselves, there are three things, at least three things, that are merged together. Our brain is so adept at merging these three things. But if we pay attention, you'll notice that in a pinch, there is first this felt sense of touch. We simply register that touch. We simply register the smell. We simply register the sight of something or the sound that we hear. But the pinch begins with just a felt sense of touch. But quickly, as we increase the pressure, the sharpness of it, out of that increased pressure of touch jumps out this sense of pain. It's a felt tone, and it's on a continuum from strong pleasure to strong aversion to strong pain. On that continuum, as the pressure increases, pain of the pinch jumps out. These two things are quite natural. There's also a third dimension that happens, which is that as we register this felt tone of pain, comes an emotional response that we might label aversion, fear, wanting for that pain of the pinch to go away. That emotional response, coupled with the pain, coupled with a touch, our brain merges at least those three dynamics together. Our brains are so adept at doing that. And what happens is, as the Buddha taught, those three things coming together, and especially the last, the emotion that wishes the pain to go away. The Buddha labeled this a house builder. There's nothing wrong inherently with any of these components. But what the Buddha realized is especially the emotional component begins as a foundation to building a house. From that foundation comes our orientation, our dispositions, our sense of identity, understanding and naming this house called self. And depending on what kind of house we identify with and build, it might be a house with lots of openings and windows, or it might be a house that is enclosed, bricked up from bottom to top. For many students, this is why the practice of equanimity is so difficult. How can you ask us to experience something without liking it or disliking it? How can you ask us to practice just being with an experience without wanting it to stay just as it is or wishing that it be otherwise? And so for many, equanimity often gets misunderstood with indifference, with apathy, with detachment and disassociation. That the identity, this house that we have built up, celebrates likes and dislikes and preferences. And so equanimity is only possible, KP, if we are detached from something. But equanimity is not about detachment. The language is precise here. It asks for non-attachment. It asks for a kind of relating to an experience that we encounter that is fully present, that is appreciating as much of the experience as we can. Equanimity understands that before identity is constructed, there is always novelty. Novelty precedes identity. Equanimity understands that our awareness can become confined and constricted to identity. That identity might be nothing other than a confined awareness. But Buddhist meditation actually postulates that our awareness is greater than identity. And that we can have our identities so long as they do not imprison this greater awareness. And so as we step into mindfulness practice of our karma, our orientations and dispositions and values, how do we not bias our awareness as a way of securing our identity, but allowing awareness to remain large, free, and open, to allow awareness to play with identity in such a way we realize how our identities are bound together compassionately, interconnected in the larger karma that awareness helps to shape. And so I understand, my friends, this practice of equanimity and how difficult it is. And so we practice.